Hi guys, it's Carol. How are you? I'm flustered, embarrassed at myself, um, regretful. So let's start right in on this. The drama on my channel is all on me. I made the first mistake by bringing up something relating to politics. Oh heavens, I won't go near that again. And I knew better. But you know, I'm human. And Biden is human. We're all human. Which makes me think of a funny story I'm going to tell you at the end if this doesn't go too long. Because I prefer humor to anything else. And this was laughing at myself, not. Anyway, I mentioned the thing about Biden who ended a speech with, God save the Queen, man. And then my mistake was he said, God bless the Queen, man. I couldn't even keep it straight. Anyway, I wish I had not gone there. That was one of those things I could text to my sister and back if I needed to express something like that and not throw it out there. I know better. And I don't want to be that kind of person. Subs, I don't want you to think I'm that kind of person. I really don't. I'm really not most of the time. I really try to be positive and give people the benefit of the doubt. That's why I'm going to tell you this story in the end. But first of all, I have a sub. Bob, my entire religious life started when I was about 18. Before then, when I was growing up, we had absolutely no religion in our home at all until I found it on my own. And then for the next 45 years, I guess, I was very active in, I'm looking to see who's walking past my apartment. Then I became very active, and I was at the church I chose. Every time the doors open, I taught classes, I blah, blah, blah. But anyway, my whole religious life, I called the minister of our church by his title that he chose to be called. It's hard for me to call Bob because I know he's a minister. But he signs this Bob. But I want you to know that I would much rather be more respectful and call you what your parishioners called you, but I don't know what that was. I have several subs that are ministers, and I'm embarrassed at my actions in front of you 3 or 4 ministers. And anyway, I called one reverend, and he said he preferred not to. That sounded too serious or something. I don't remember. Anyway, let's stop that. That's been 4 minutes of jabber. Let's move on. Anyway, Bob sent me an email. I thought it was an answer to a comment in my video. So after I read it, I said, you know, I appreciate everything you said, and I'm going to ask my watchers to read your comment. And then I went to sleep. You know me and my sleeping. And then I immediately went to sleep and just woke up not too long ago. And so I was going to make this video, and I was going to tell you, go back down and read this comment that Bob left. I looked through the comments, it wasn't there. That's because it was an email to me. But I answered by saying, thank you, Bob. I'm going to ask my friends to read your comment because you make so many excellent points, and I appreciate the things you said. Oh, believe you me, I won't ever go near anything political again with a 10-foot pole. And he said, thank you for your kind words. If what I wrote can challenge others to think about things, I think it will be time well spent. So I think it's okay with him for me to read this to you. Just stay with me. Just stay with me. He says, "Hi, Carol. I'm sorry to hear that you guys are still having such extreme weather. We're supposed to have thunderstorms starting shortly. The last time I looked at a radar before I went to sleep, the worst cloud was over Perryton that just suffered the horrible tornado. But back to Bob's letter. Okay. I hope you and yours stay safe. Thank you, Bob. I want to write to you about the most recent video I watched this morning, the one where you commented on President Biden's rather bizarre remark, God save the Queen, man. I hadn't heard that, so I went online to read more about it and to view a video clip. To say the least, it was a bit weird and unexpected, but Joe Biden has always been known for the occasional verbal misstep. I mean, now this is me. I just love George W. Bush. Not because of anything he did or did not do as president, but because he would say things sometimes that just made me laugh. None of us are perfect, starting with me. George W. Bush said a few things too. Anyway, going back to Bob now. Joe Biden has always been known for the occasional verbal misstep. Some in the media have called him a gaffe machine. Is that how you say that word, G-A-F-F-E, gaffe? In my reading, I came across a number of writers who said that Barack Obama was a bit concerned choosing him for vice president in 2008 because he knew that Joe Biden could often stick his foot in his mouth. I don't know what prompted such an off-the-mall remark, but I do know that political events like the one President Biden was speaking at have a certain dynamic that people don't understand unless they've attended one. I have never attended one. When I was younger, I attended a number of political rallies and met a small number of national politicians. I think the energy of the crowd and the speaker affects both of them, leading either of them to say or do things that otherwise would not do. Seeing a national leader in the flesh unleashes a lot of adrenaline. People cheer, they jump up and down, they wave their arms, they say all kinds of things. The roar of the crowd can affect the speaker in a similar way. I believe that's what happened at President Biden's speech. He got a little excited and just blurted out something that probably sounded better in his head than it did coming from his lips. Of course, he knows that England has a king now, but hearing God save the Queen for 70 years is certainly ingrained in his mind. My dad used to tell me that he thought I was nuts when I'd come home from all hepped up from a political event. Then he had the opportunity, around 1985, to attend a rally where President Reagan visited the Harley-Davidson motorcycle plant in York, Pennsylvania. My dad's company was catering a lunch for the employees that day. Later that night, he told me he finally understood what I was talking about. Something just gets you going when you see the Marine helicopter land in the field, the band starts playing, the people start cheering. It unleashes something that you have to be there to understand. We often say that people's filters begin to thin as they age. There may well be some truth to that. It is in my case. Suddenly I have no filter. President Biden is older than any other president who has served in office. Can't we extend him a little grace? This is why I wanted to read you this. Can't we extend him a little grace, Carol? Can't we extend people a little grace? I do not believe he has dementia or is mentally slipping. Anyone who speaks publicly as much as he does will produce a gaffe now and then. After 36 in pastoral ministry, I've certainly said a few things I wish I could have unsaid. It just comes with the territory of being front and center. I disagree with President Biden on a number of issues, but I still think we need to respect him. To do otherwise tears down respect for the office itself and makes it even harder for the next occupant. I've read enough history and biography to know that every president is flawed in a number of ways. That is true. They each have had significant strengths and weaknesses, a fact that most of them, I believe, would readily admit. Currently, I'm reading a new book about President Gerald R. Ford, An Ordinary Man, by Richard Norton Smith. What a book! I can hardly put it down. Well, I'll check that one out, Bob. And what a man. I wish we could have Jerry back in the Oval Office for a while. He too made some verbal gaffes, but a finer man would be hard to find. In my home office, I have two pictures of presidents I highly admire, Presidents Harry S. Truman and Dwight D. Eisenhower. Ironically, two men who didn't really like each other and who could snip at each other from time to time. Somehow they peacefully coexist on my wall. I also have nearby a copy of the painting Avenue in the Rain, which often hangs in the Oval Office. President Eisenhower lived in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania after he left the White House, and I have had the opportunity to tour his home, now open to the public, on a number of occasions. Someday I hope to get to Independence, Missouri to visit the Truman Home and Presidential Library. Carol, thanks for great videos, but I hope you'll consider steering clear of politics. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I definitely will. Not too long, I'm stopping his letter now for a moment. Not too long ago, I said something. And so I said to my daughter, okay, I want you to watch my videos before I post them and let me know if I said something that I should not have. And we did that for a while. And then she has other things to do. And I didn't think about telling her, hey, look and see if I'm doing something stupid, saying something stupid. Now back to Bob's letter. I hope you'll consider steering clear of the politics. It just opens up a can of worms that I don't think is helpful or beneficial. Boy, is that the truth. Lesson learned. I was saddened by some of the comments. Oh, Bob, me too. Me too. That's why I'm doing this, because some of the comments have made me very, very sad. And I don't want drama on my channel, and I opened up the can of worms, so it's all my fault. But I don't want my subs picking on each other or arguing or being unkind, and I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying, on my channel as a whole, I want my subs to be kind. I want me to be kind. Moving on. I was saddened by some of the comments. It's just too easy to be flippant and to throw stones. You don't know how often I think of that statement Jesus made. Ye without sin cast the first stone. I really do. I think if we'd see the other side of what a president deals with, we'd all be a bit more patient and compassionate. As a pastor, I can tell you I've heard more political talk in the last 7 or 8 years than in the previous 30. Hearing some of the nastiness and judgmental things people have said has changed my opinion of many. It's been depressing. It's been so easy for people to vilify some politicians while excusing the excesses of others. Makes me very sad for our nation. I have strong opinions, but I've tried to be as apolitical as possible in public. I'm hoping that will help me get through the next 4 years unscathed until I retire. Just a few thoughts, for better or for worse, that I felt I wanted to share with you. Your Pennsylvania pal, Bob Clearsea, I think is how he pronounces his last name. I'm not sure. Thank you, Bob. And I mean that sincerely. Thank you. Yes, I want to be more of a compassionate person. I want to be more of a person who can extend some grace, because without grace, where would we all be? So thank you. And subs, I hope you listen to all of that. And I promise from now on, I'll try my best to not bring up any subject that's going to induce drama, because I really don't want drama. I really don't. If I have ever watched channels that turned real dramatic, I tend to just not go there anymore. And I don't want you to think this is a drama channel. I'll try to do better. That's what I'll do. I'll try to do better. Okay, because I want to end on a note that maybe will make you laugh. When I think of this thing often in my mind, you know how things just pop in your mind and I just giggle? So I hope this makes you giggle too. There's enough sadness in the world. I can't tell you how I have struggled not to fall in the depression hellhole over knowing that 7 of my other Texas Panhandle residents were alive 1 minute and gone the next when a tornado destroyed their town in minutes. And one was an 11-year-old boy, much like my grandson Red. It's been a struggle since I heard that. I just thought, well, it's hard. Well, anyway, let's move on to think about something else. You know, you guys know I worked in a library for 20 years, and I loved every day of it. It was just my dream job. It's the only place I ever wanted to work. When I was by the time I was 40, I'd lost a considerable amount of hearing, enough that it made things difficult. You know, I couldn't understand people on the phone. I couldn't understand people standing in front of me. Texas Department of Rehab helped me by providing hearing aids for me so I could stay in the workforce, for which I was very, very grateful. But they didn't do a whole lot for me. I don't even know for sure if this is a thing. I'm just yes, that's the neighbor taking her trash. It's okay. But my audiologist told me I have a condition where I don't hear consonants, even with my hearing aids. The one thing I can remember that made sense then, as soon as she told me that, was my grandson is going to be 23 this year. When he was a little boy, like less than a year old, I was the storytime lady for 18 years. My daughter Becky was going to bring her son to story time. Somehow she got out of the car. You know, he was in the back seat in his car seat. She got out of the car and accidentally locked him in the car. She dropped her keys, I guess, and then shut the door, and had already depressed lock. Anyway, she accidentally locked my grandson in the car, and he was just a baby. He was probably close to 1. But anyway, he was in his car seat. Oh my gosh. She panicked. She ran in the library. They called a locksmith. The circulation desk did. The whole staff. Becky had worked at the library too. Becky and Casey both worked at the library that I worked at. It was a huge library. And so the whole staff knew my daughters and knew my grandson because he visited often. And the way we were all in a dither, and until the locksmith could come get him out. Anyway, after they got him out, later on, that was in the morning, later on in the day, I went to the administration office to make a copy or something. And the assistant library director, the same one who misunderstood me when I was asking about a pain medication, new subs, go to my playlist. Scroll down. I've got too many things. I want to see if I can make it be organized where I can put them in the order I want them to be, because I've got a bunch of stuff that maybe I need to delete. I don't know. Anyway, go to my playlist. Scroll down till you find humor, mostly laughing at myself, and you'll find one that concerns the same assistant library director and me that was terribly embarrassing to me when I figured out what he thought I said. Anyway, my grandson got locked in the car that morning. Later that afternoon, I went to the administration office to do something, make a copy, I guess, and the assistant library director said to me, Carol, how's the baby in the car? Or something to that effect. What I heard him say, because I don't hear consonants, and so my brain is constantly going, trying to figure out what somebody said, which I know makes me look dumb, and now I understand back in my childhood, people called people with hearing problems deaf and dumb, is a phrase I heard a lot. I wasn't deaf then, but I remember hearing that. And I think, gosh, I look dumb when my brain is going in circles trying to go, what did they say? Anyway, he said something to me about baby in the car. He was asking about my grandson being locked in the car. I heard him say lady in the bar. I don't go to bars. I don't drink. I never have. And so for him to say something to me about the lady in the bar, first of all, was kind of startling because everybody knew I didn't drink or go to bars. And I was trying to figure out about lady in the bar. Lady in the bar. And finally he could see I was struggling, and he said to me, "Your grandson, the baby that got locked in the car." Why am I even going there now? My poor brain is back going into the brain fog, and I don't even know why I said that. Oh well. Stay with me, subs. Stay with me. There's something here. Something's gonna come out in a minute. I don't know what. Um, Me and Joe Biden. Anyway, oh, I was telling you I'd lost my hearing by the time I was in 40. The 40s were horrible for me. I had a hysterectomy. My depression got to a horrible, scary, dangerous point. My hearing went. I had a lot of struggles about the time I turned 40. You know, you always hear life begins at 40. That's what I used to hear. Chaos began for me at 40. But anyway, I'm trying to get there. Stay with me, subs. I worked at this library the last 2 years at a circulation desk at a branch library. Now, this was back before schools provided laptops for kids, or laptops were so convenient for families to buy and stuff like that. We had computers that the public could use. They could, how they got logged in was with their library card number, and then they could use it for an hour. And at this particular library where I was working, the circulation desk was like right here. And right here was a table that had 8 computers, 4 on each side, and it was very, very, very close to my circulation desk. You could just barely walk through there. The path was wide enough for people to walk, but pretty close. Well, we closed at 9 p.m. And this one evening, I was busy. It was like 5 till 9. I was busy doing my closing up stuff, minding my own business, doing my own thing. Everybody else that worked there was doing their own thing too, getting ready to close up for the night. And where I stood at the circulation desk, I could look straight down all the way to the parking lot, straight. It was just a straight shot of, and I could see people coming into the building. Here came this man. Big old bruiser of a guy. Looked like a football player with his gear on. He was just a big, muscular guy. Comes storming up, and there's a woman behind him, and then a teenage girl behind her. Here he comes into the building, busting in through the door, slamming that door open, comes up to the circulation desk and doesn't speak to me. And I always greeted everybody. I really am a positive person. Hi, how you doing? Welcome to the library. We'll be closing in 5 minutes because there's not much you can do in 5 minutes. And and if you need some help, let me know. He goes over to the computers. He jerks that chair back and bumps the side of my circulation desk. It really was close. And so I gave him the benefit of the doubt. He didn't know his own strength pulling that chair back. He sits down and he's trying to log in. And I said to him something to the effect of, you have to log in with the library card and your PIN. We're closing in 4 minutes now. You won't be able to get on the computer. And I said that because the computers automatically turn off. I don't control it, but they turn off like at 8:59 because at 9 o'clock everybody's supposed to be out. I have no idea what he said to me because I couldn't hear him. But he sits down and he starts trying to get in. And I'm continuing to do my closing up stuff. And he realizes the computer went off. It shut itself. It went off. It would not let him in. And he thought I did it, obviously. He slung that chair back again, got up, stomped out. It was saying something by stomping towards the door, slung that glass door open again. And the woman and the teenage girl were right behind him. And I'm saying, We open at 9 in the morning. Come on back in the morning and I'll be happy to help you get on the computer. You guys have a good evening now. Come back and see us. And I'm sure he was saying things that I had no idea, because by, you know, if you didn't face me, I couldn't, definitely had no idea you were talking to me unless you were facing me. In fact, the library made me a little badge that had a magnet on the front and a magnet I put under my shirt to hold it on that says, "I'm hearing impaired, please face me while speaking," because otherwise I had no idea. Anyway, here's this big old dude slamming that door open, and my branch manager, my boss, she was over on this far end doing something, and she came. Meanwhile, I'm saying, "Bye, come back and see us in the morning. I'll be happy to help you get on the computer. Y'all have a good evening." Here she comes, practically running up, and she's saying, Carol, are you okay?" And I looked at her and I said, "Well, yeah, I'm just doing my closing up stuff." And she said, "Did you not hear him?" And I said, "No." She said, he was cussing you out a blue streak because you turned the computer off on him. And all I could think was, and I was saying, "Bye, come back and see us in the morning. Y'all have a good evening now." I bet that just made him madder. Oh, heavens, this is 26 minutes. Most of you won't even watch it this far. If you watched it this far, in the comments say, "See you in the morning." Bye, guys. Let's all extend a little bit of grace. Let's all be a little more kind and compassionate, okay? There's enough sadness in the world, and I do not want this to be a drama channel. See you in the morning. Bye.